Call this meeting of the Common Council to order. If you could please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next, a roll call for Treasurer Aldrich.
Carolyn Pearson, Richard Traeger,
Present.
Brian Garrison, Dale Stewart, Mike Shaw.
Present. Move next to the reading of minutes and approval. First set of minutes is from February 4th, regular meeting. Any additions, subtractions, deletions, or amendments to be made to this set of minutes?
I move for approval of February 4th minutes.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is second. Do we have any further discussion? All right. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Abstention. The next set of minutes is from February 12th. It's brief. But really all we talked about was that Title III possible change. Any additions, subtractions, deletions, or amendments to be made to this set of minutes?
Move for approval of February 12th minutes.
Second. Motion and a second. Do we have any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, we'll move next to department head reports. Chief Mullen.
Thank you, Mayor. I think all of you have my report in front of you. The statistics are listed there. Miles driven, 5,502. Excuse me, 3 arrests. Calls for service 213. 22 incident reports, down a little bit. Vehicle stops, we had 50 of those. Citations 50. 4 written warnings and 5 press reports, 10 parking tickets, and a handgun license. As I told the Board of Works earlier, our new vehicle is in waiting to be delivered. We'll probably take it from there to get it outfitted and get it set up for use. Probably, I hate to say exactly how long it'll take, but I think safely the next 20 days or so we'll probably have it in service.
What's the cost of that?
The cost for the outfitting of the vehicle will be pretty close to about $6,000 with all the markings and everything. Anybody have questions?
Will that be also include the paint? Are you gonna paint it?
Very good. Markings are included in that. We'll have the vehicle marked at the location where the lights and instrumentation is being installed. The place where we chose is called Move Over Outfitters, and they do everything there, so just get it done right there. So it's marked and installed, everything taken care of.
One more question.
Sure.
See, you do polygraph tests, right, down Lafayette? Is that out of Lafayette or Carroll County?
We do them here. I do them here, wherever. I can go anywhere and do them, but I typically choose a location locally to do them.
Do you do other counties besides Carroll?
I have, yes.
Do you do that during the week or on the weekends, or when do you do that?
I like to do them during the daytime, during week hours. It's a thing we do. I do for other agencies. If I'm doing it for other agencies, I do them during the work time because it's a cooperative effort between our agency and other agencies. Like, for example, might be an applicant test or something like that, or a criminal test that might occur for another agency that they need to have a polygraph examiner for.
Well, I was wanting to ask about that. So you do it on city time,
Yes.
then that means that you aren't in the city when that happens, right?
Typically, yes.
And it takes how many hours to do one?
It could take anywhere from 2 to 3 hours to do a polygraph test.
Okay. And how many days a week or month do you do that?
Actually, I haven't done one for probably the last 3 months. And sometimes I could end up doing one once every a week, 2 or 3 weeks, or it could be none for a long time. It just depends on what.
Do you know about what it averages a month or a year to do those?
Well, how many
I mean,
cars?
how many you do?
Oh,
I don't know.
it varies. It could be anywhere from maybe 10 tests a year or something like that.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure, absolutely.
Any other questions?
Any questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Superintendent Van Sickle?
Evening.
Evening.
You got my report? Just go over a couple of highlights. The drain valve in the small digester. It was a little more detailed than that two sentences that I had there. Our pump, it was drained down about 5-6 feet. Our pumps wouldn't prime it up. We went down and rented a pump at Sunbelt. Had to have some electrical work done, 30 amp breaker, and then the pump wouldn't work. So we took it back, borrowed a pump from Aaron, got that taken care of. But in that time, it took about a week or so, 5 days, we couldn't move any solids, any sludge, so biosolids. Then we had a power outage on the 24th. And after we took our pump out to the State Road 39 lift station, by the time we got back out there, the power was back on. So then we thought we were clear for the day, and then Craig gave me a call. And so we assisted the water leak with the backer on Market Street. Had a little broken hose, the old IGA store. We got a little lift station there. We got that taken care of. And by the time we meet again, we will be disinfecting. I know it doesn't seem like it, but April 1st we'll be using chlorine and sulfur dioxide again. Questions?
Thank you, Superintendent. Superintendent Myers?
Evening, just a couple highlights. We pumped 25,495,000 gallons last month. Serviced 12 frozen meters during the cold weather. We had 6 water leaks. I'm not sure why, but 5 of them were on the weekends. And Mr. Van Sickle said he uses the back truck a lot, of course, on the weekends, and helps us out. That's about it. 2 of them were pretty big water mains, 4-inch and an 8-inch water main. They were 5 to 6 foot deep. Had no reason. I don't know why they broke. But the other ones were just bad spots in the city. So,
How long does it take you to fix it?
it varies. Like the one we had on Market Street was an all-dayer. It was 6 hours probably. The other ones take a couple hours. It just varies on the size of them and where they're located, how big they are.
And it's cold.
It was cold, yes.
And they had another one Saturday on
Yep.
Union Street, Saturday morning.
Any other questions for Superintendent Myers? Thank you, sir. Superintendent Lyons?
Good evening. A few of the February highlights, obviously, we had some more snow removal. We had some more requests for curb sidewalk measurements, so I did a few of those. We have 13 confirmed at this present moment in time. So I got 13 people that are committed to partake in this year's 50/50 batch. The weather cooperated long enough for a few days that we did some potholes, got some potholes filled. And then, obviously, with the winds that we had here the last week, whatever it was, we had a few trees that we had to take care of. And got a little storm damage to a pole barn, wind damage to a salt barn. So they contacted the insurance, I'm waiting on the adjuster to come out and take a look at it. So that's what I have for February. And the
I wanted to commend you on what, during the snow removal and stuff, with as cold as it was this morning and last night, early this morning. I want to commend you guys on the job you've done very well.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Would you say them, the sidewalks are, is that strongly neighborhood, widely spread out, the 13 of them? Would you,
They're all over.
It's all
I mean,
over.
I've
It's
got,
not-
I got a couple streets where a couple of the neighbors are doing it, but we've got some down on Monroe Street, Summit Street. They're all over.
On Summit Street, there's a lot of, no curbs as well. Is there any program that we ever,
Some of these are for both.
are they?
Yeah, yeah. Some of them want both sidewalk and curb, so.
kind of hope it gets infectious as you put it out and other
Sometimes
people kind of
yeah,
jump on
sometimes it
board?
does. So, we've got 13 committed.
So on the curb, is it the same price, share thing?
Yes, it's still 50/50.
I mean, it'd really be nice if we could get those curbs, because that's an older street. And it just seems like all, the dirt just washes down, and it's a bad deal.
You have to go talk to your neighbor. We've got two people on either side of a house. They're both doing curb and sidewalk, and then the one in between is not. It'd be nice to just get all three knocked out.
That's the difficult part of doing
I
it this
know,
way is,
it is.
like the mayor said, I've got a spot right now. I got 2 people committed this year. And they got one person in the middle of them, which is probably, I would say, 50 or 60 feet that I won't be doing. I can't force them to do it. And that's the only disadvantage. Same with the sidewalk. It gets difficult at times when you have people that want to do it because there's so many variables and factors from raising the sidewalk for grade purposes to make sure you have drainage to lining up existing. And when you've got something like that in the middle, it's very hard to have a nice, even transition through there. But we do have people that are willing to commit, so it's one we've had increase in past.
Thank you.
Any other questions, Superintendent Lyons? All right, thank you, sir. Clerk Treasurer Aldrich?
I don't think so.
Close the year out. That's a big
Oh,
deal.
I closed the year out.
Well, it was a big deal, it was a lot of overtime hours. I had a question on this, information that you gave us. On the owner occupied housing, we have negative balances. What's the deal there?
First one was the one handled with CURPSI, and it stays on the book negative. CURPSI never addressed it at all. The second one, there's money that actually is coming yet from Joyce, and that's to be addressed. She'll take care of it.
So the 15.
And Joyce, by Joyce, I'm being very familiar. That's Star Development, an excellent company to work with, so it won't be an issue.
So the 15,000, is that the,
That's,
Dead
sorry
people.
about your, that's people that ended up not participating as far as CURPSI was concerned. Their share was never paid into CURPSI, into the grant program. And then there was expenses that was expended out to us for Green Tree Environmental, and something else that we never received reimbursement. CURPSI didn't handle.
so it'll just stay there as a negative balance forever?
Well,
Until
we'll do what we did this year,
finally.
with major, with some of the major, and we cleaned up the stellar, and that is you'll do an additional appropriation and you'll take them off the books. And what it amounts to is you're simply trading lines, because you're gonna take it out of your general operating. That no longer will be a negative figure, but it will be zero, so your financial position will stay the same, you just don't have a negative balance. If that makes sense.
And then we have a negative balance in the floodgate. That's
Floodgate, we kinda messed up on, because when we did our additional appropriation, we did not put the correct amount in. So a different amount should, I think you probably negative 16,000. That was because an additional claim had been paid, and it wasn't added, it was used beginning balance. So that'll just have to be done next year. I can't just do it, that has to be something that has to be approved by DOT. But you'll notice the rest of them that had negative figures, and that's your interurban trail, that was your stellar, your gateway 2 stages, your streetscape 2 stages, and something else, I can't remember. Interurban, what else was the change? They all had negative balances.
Trailhead Park has a negative balance.
Well, it will continue, that's
Yeah,
something
that's,
we're
I
working on
figured, I
now.
didn't mention it because
Yeah.
I didn't
Oh,
see
we
any
did.
other negatives here.
There's a FAA grant, 476, but.
Well,
we're still
FAA
working on it.
is an ongoing grant. It rolls out of one and rolls into another, and I don't know until they finally get totally done with all the runways and the extensions and buying properties, that's the way it's gonna be. Until you finally cash out totally. That's been ongoing for how long, Carolyn? So that's carried
As
negative
long as Ken
balances.
Ross is there, it will be going. I mean, when Dick, you, as a Board of Works member, ask about that, you know, they have the engineering company, is anybody here from them? From the airport? I mean, I don't want to speak out of turn, but anyway, you know, they are constantly doing projects at the airport because of the funding, you know, 90% federal, and so they always think, well, why not do it? Sometimes you begin to think, do we need it? But
I think this year, the grant they're gonna be pursuing is gonna be to help pay off the T hangar. Am I right on that?
That, they were supposed to do that this year, but I don't know if they're gonna do it this year or next year, but that's supposedly the next thing they are getting into is trying to find a grant that, NNGC seems to think there are grants out there that are available that will help them pay off.
I thought they were also going to build a new entrance building, a new
The terminal.
terminal.
Terminal,
Can't think of
I think that's in there, they've gotta keep a 3 to
Long
5 year
range.
capital under long range plan.
I think that's in there, yeah, extended plan, but I don't think it's immediate operation.
Any other questions for Clerk Treasurer Aldridge?
it. Thank you for the info.
And this will be available on Gateway.
It'll be on Gateway, and then it has to be advertised in a paper. I don't think they picked the city to run that. It's different than your budget.
Me in February, had a bunch of meetings, like every month. I know Josh Blue from the county council is here. We're working together with Florida and the Chamber of Commerce on a WIN grant. So we spent a lot of time working on that. The trail grant was a big one, and the state's announced, I believe there was 140 million, 144 million in requests received for that trails grant. They only have 90 million available. I was kind of thinking, okay, we get in this first round, we have a better chance at competition because nobody else will have their ducks in a row. Everybody else has their ducks in a row, so I'm not sure when to expect whether we get awarded or not, but that's that. I've got the rest of my meetings here. Do you guys have any questions for me?
Would that be that 1.3 million?
Yeah, 1.3 or 1.4? Yeah.
You don't know for sure if you're going to get it or not, right?
Correct. I imagine it'll probably be next month, I guess. Any questions?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Wow, okay.
Don't move too
Anyway.
much. That was your chair.
It snapped off, it's all right. Did you,
It's Carol's chair, it's all right.
yeah, it's all right, you know,
Stay late and change.
the grant for the building, the old Masonic building,
Mhm.
I hear that, a group in town is going to put the grant together and try to buy that building. Is that what they're gonna do, or what's gonna go on there?
So that's the grant proposal that's been put together. There was a proposers day, that last Monday, Council President Blue,
28th,
maybe the.
I think, or 24th, sorry, yeah.
So there's been a grant proposal put together this week. I think tomorrow we're going down to look at Fusion 54 in Crawfordsville. It's kind of the same concept. But yeah, that's with the grant to make it an innovation center to bring specifically agricultural technology into the community, allow for a space for students to learn and for people to collaborate, and then to offer programming.
Are you gonna have offices in there? That's
This-
not what I'm saying.
If the grant's received, I believe the EDC County Chamber, maybe another nonprofit organization would be headquartered in there.
Who would actually own the building then?
I believe it'd be the Carroll County Chamber of Commerce under their 501c3 foundation.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? All right. Let's see, Area Planning Commission report, Councilman Seward.
We rezoned 2 pieces of property over around Camden, got those taken care of. They were submitted in error, didn't have the proper paperwork for them a few months ago, so we finally got that and put them on a rezone. And still pushing forward. We did a couple interviews for a new director, so that pretty much was the month.
Did you guys take under advisement the resolution?
Oh, yes.
Council? And
Yes.
What was the recommendation?
We were asking for more information on that as far as what the possibilities were in regards to making that happen. Different things that could be done to actually comply and get that project off the ground. I volunteered to contact Paul Ryder and talk to him, and I've done that. So we should be getting some more information and hopefully be able to get a little closer at next month's meeting.
All right, fantastic. Any questions for President Pro Tem Seward? All right. Councilman Shockley, anything to report on the community center?
Well, other than we had a balloon popping contest, not contest, a balloon popping, Saturday at noon. We broke from the traditional ribbon cutting ceremony. There was a group of us there. Matter of fact, Mr. Garrison was there. And anyway, we had quite a few people there show up. And instead of having a ribbon cutting outside, they asked me if I would bust a red balloon. And everybody was, I stood up and I said, okay, here we go. And Debbie was back there just getting up, and I popped the balloon. And she said, you didn't wait on me to take a picture. I said, I'm sorry about that. Anyway, we had a good turnout. Everybody seemed to enjoy it. They really thought that the building really looked nice. I did put up a plaque honoring Bill Rodenbarger. I have another plaque to put up yet that's not all completed yet, but it will be for the people that donated as well as all of our volunteers, our contractors and everybody, what the city and everybody done. I believe Debbie's gonna have a report in the comment this week, stating about the building and stuff. So what it cost and who done what and everything like that, which will probably explain it a lot better than I can. But I will say this, with all due respect, was more or less the liaison between the building and the mayor and the Board of Works. And I thank everybody for being able to come to you and say, hey, we need this, this, and this, and we got this much money to do it with. And Dick and the mayor and were very gracious about letting us go ahead and take care and pay the bills and stuff like that. We'll say we had a couple of reports when we done these foaming on the outside walls. was the difference between $14,000 and $5,500. So, you know we have to take the lowest bid, because it's city building. Sheet rocking, we done, it was between $14,000 and $15,000 locally. We got a young man out of Lafayette, we done it for, swirled the ceiling, put all sheet rock up from start to finish to paint for about I believe it was $7,600 or $7,800. But what we could do, we done with our own contractors that contracted the building, such as Mr. Benedict from Jefferson, Mr. Starrett, which really brought the price down. And we had about 20, I tell her, we have between 25 and 30 volunteers. Now, not all of them at one time come in, but at different times, there was always somebody doing something. And that's what made it enjoyable, and that's what made things go together a lot better. I'm done, Mayor.
Thanks, sir. Any questions for Councilman Shockley? Council President Blue, you got anything you'd like to report from the county? I mean, I assume you guys are gonna make front page for the jail this week.
The only thing that I wanted to touch base on was what Councilman Shockley was talking about a moment ago, but I had a meeting with Okra and on the addiction center. There are gonna be some Okra funds that are going to be available for that. So I figure, I don't know who wants to take point on that, but I know Paul Ryder and I have been working together on that, and obviously would encourage maybe a collaborative effort between the county and the city to work on that effort.
Thanks, sir. Any questions for Council President Blue?
I'd like to add one thing.
Yes, sir.
Carol, I don't know when you came in and all that, it's all kind of a blur as when we were spending money and doing this and that, but I'm sure you had a part in that too, and I want to thank you also.
Yeah.
I can't remember when one
Well,
left and
that's
one
it, I
came
couldn't
in.
remember
but-
which one
Yeah. So, but thank
she
you.
was on, but I just, the board of work, you know.
You're always in trouble when you start naming names, because you always leave somebody out.
Well, that's true.
So moving to old business, first piece of old business is proposed resolution 2019-4, read by title alone, resolution setting the Delphi Community Center as council chambers. This is something we discussed last month. Is there any discussion about moving our meetings down to the community center? Is there a motion to approve on first and final reading?
I think that's a good idea as a temporary fix, but I'm really concerned that we do that like some other things, and then it just goes on and on and on forever. Did anyone else get the financials for the new elevator? I asked for them and I got them emailed to me, but I don't know if anybody else
I didn't
has
see
seen them.
anybody else.
I'll forward that to you. I'd really like to get going on this and get that taken care of, because I don't mind being down there, but I don't want it to be a long-term thing, and that's just the way I feel about it anyway. I'd like to get this building to where it's fixed. It's been going on too long. So I don't know how everybody else feels about it, but.
Any further discussion?
I make a motion, we, just lost
2019-4.
29, pass it. Resolution 2019-4.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. The next meeting of the Common Council will be at the Delphi Community Center, 311 North Washington Street. And the regular board meetings, Board of Public Works and Safety meetings will be down there on the first and third Mondays. We move next to Mr. Duke. Ordinance, proposed ordinance 2019-3, read by title alone, ordinance creating a handicap parking spot at the Delphi Christian Church. Mr. Duke, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor. My wife says I'm a little bit slow, and it's only taken me 9.5 years to figure out that we need some parking down there. That church has been there since 1908. There is no parking lot. I figured if we have potentially, if you go every month, 65 people who attend, we have 45 people who are regular attenders. So every Sunday we have at least 45 people. Of those 45, we have 22 people who are 65 or above. We have 3 people who are 80 or above. And so I'm requesting the city put in at least 2 handicap parking spots in front of the building, Sundays only. That would greatly help people. Just to add a little bit of fuel to the fire, for Christmas Eve service, we had 97 people. And we had a few people who were upset that they had a long way to walk. Now, that's a great problem. But it would help our congregation, and we'd have at least 2 Sunday-only handicap parking spots.
You get 60 for the Friends there?
Yes.
Okay. And I only put, in this ordinance, I only put 1, I apologize. And we could change it to make it 2. Do you guys have any questions for Mr. Duke first?
Would these be used for just church purposes?
Church purpose, that's why we say Sundays only. You know.
Okay, you don't have a middle of the week service?
We do, but most of the elderly people don't come to that.
Okay.
Right now, we have a Thursday afternoon and Thursday evening Bible study.
Okay.
Saturday men's breakfast, but again, I'm one of the oldest guys there. I can work.
And City Attorney Martin, I think this would be our first Sunday on the handicap parking spot.
It is.
And
This is new territory.
We're good to go with that.
Yes.
Okay.
The question is, how are we gonna enforce that? You're gonna have it marked. And I know, what are you gonna do? Put Sunday only? I mean, people are gonna, I don't know whether they're gonna wanna park there on a regular basis, you know what I'm saying? I'm for it. I'm just saying, from the chief's standpoint, how you gonna reinforce it? I mean, you could put Sunday only on there, but that's pretty, when you have to mark it. That's all I'm saying, is I'm trying to work out the logistics,
Yeah.
There are some basic guidelines that the statute requires for handicap parking spot, most of which the blue lines, the sign, and then the sign requirements not to put Superintendent Lyons on the spot. We were just conferring, there are certainly signs that say handicap only, enforceable on Sundays only, or I'm sorry, handicap enforceable on Sundays only. So it can be easily marked by just that sign alone.
I've seen some other typical things Sundays only.
I understand, but I'm saying, once you mark them, I just think, it's tough to do. That's all. I'm for them, but.
I move approval of ordinance 2019-3 on first reading.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Do we have any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Would you guys like to suspend the rules of procedure to pass all 3 readings tonight? Or would you like to wait another month and hear second reading next month?
I do not foresee any objection to this, so I think we might as well move forward. So I would move to suspend the rules and pass ordinance 2019-3 on second, third reading.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.